This is Lecture 1 for Class 2. Last week we started talking about primary authority, or more specifically, statutes, regulations, and cases. Although these are three distinct types of primary law, they function and operate together. A case is often interpreting a statute or a regulation or applying a rule of procedure. For example, this is a brief extract from a case in the Hawaii Supreme Court. Take a minute and look it over. Can you find any reference to other primary law in this case extract? There are several references. For example, you can find a citation to a rule of civil procedure, a statute in the HRS or Hawaii Revised Statutes, and a regulation in the HAR or Hawaii Administrative Rules. Similarly, if you are looking up a statute in an annotated statutory code, you can find references to cases that interpret the statute and regulations that enforce the statute. This example comes from the Hawaii Revised Statutes. At the end of the statutory section, you can find cases listed by subject. These are called notes of decision. If you are looking at this statute on Westlaw Next, the notes of decision are found in a tab above the text of the statute. For this statute, West has identified 235 cases that have cited back to this statute. The cases are also organized here by subject in order to help narrow your results and cut down your reading of cases. I also want to point out the tab called Citing References. In the Citing References tab, you'll find references to secondary sources that will help explain this area, as well as citations to other primary law, like related statutes, or very conveniently, regulations that are attached to this statute. If we open up one of these regulations, and we scroll to the bottom of the text of the regulation, you can look for the area called Credits. Within the credits, you can find the adoption information, as well as the authority that authorized the agency to issue this regulation. In this case, HRS Section 91-2 is the authority for this regulation. You can also do this in the federal system. In this print version of the United States Code Annotated, the editors try to alert you to regulations at the end of the statutory text. This doesn't relieve you from the obligation to check yourself, but it is a nice research aid when you're offline. It also provides references to secondary authority like articles and treatises. This example is from Title 42 of USCA Section 9605. The editors reference you to Title 40 of the Code of Federal Regulations, beginning with Section 301. If we look at Title 40 of the CFR, for example, we can find the Federal Enabling Statute for this regulation. In the federal regulations, you can find the enabling statute cited at the beginning of the regulatory chapter, or directly below the table of contents for the chapter. In this example, you are referred to Titles 33 and 42 of the United States Code. You would then turn back to those statutes to continue your research. There are other documents referred to in this authority note that you'll learn how to decode later in the semester. For now, you need to remember that statutes can lead you to regulations and cases, regulations can lead you to statutes, and cases can lead you to other cases, statutes, and regulations. Though every regulation must have a statute attached to it, not every statute has a regulation to enforce or a case that has interpreted it. In class, we are going to practice how using one source of law can lead you to other sources of law. This concludes Lecture 1 for Class 2.